संसार सुगुण की।
Hare Krishna, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to the members of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, and for your attendance at our weekly meetings, readings and discussions from the original unedited books of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, which is critical to connecting properly with the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I was looking at the recent email from Yashodanandana Prabhu, who quoted this class that I mentioned earlier last week in regards to the disciplic succession. It was on October 24th, 1972. And Prabhupada was speaking about the deterioration of the Gaudiya Math due to whimsical behavior of his godbrothers, that they tried to change the message of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in order to justify their own individual ambitions to become successful in this world. This is all false ego. The false ego layering of the conditioned soul is very difficult to overcome. False identification with oneself and one's position, one's intellect, one's mind. People are thinking, I'm so brilliant, I'm so smart, I'm so rich, I'm so famous. This is a very difficult thing to overcome, yes. And it is possible through the process of bhakti yoga that Srila Prabhupada introduced to us, the constant chanting of the holy names, constant hearing the philosophy of Krishna consciousness from the lips of the pure devotee, and association with like-minded devotees. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, very important. This is not something we are concocting. Some people, they concoct philosophy. I was also looking at an email from Yashodanandana Prabhu of one of our godbrothers, and he sent a very detailed essay on himself. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. Complete mental concoction. Sure, some philosophy, some quoting, and then some speculation, some mental concoction, and everything is just ruined by his actions. So very unfortunate. And I wanted, before we start the reading of the diaries, I wanted to mention about the term Ritvik, because a lot of people, they criticize the Prabhupada disciples. They say, oh, you're Ritviks. And it was a term that I heard introduced by Hridayananda, a former guru, as he mentions in his title on the latest scandal movie on Paramount Pictures on that's now spreading throughout the world. Anyway, if you get a chance, watch that. It's quite sad to see and shocking, especially for some of us who lived through it and had to deal directly with this deviant Keith Ham. But nonetheless, it was a lesson for us in understanding how by mental concoction, by mental speculation, things can go off in a very unfortunate and difficult way. But this is what happens when people do not follow the spiritual master properly. And this is what happened with this Ritvik situation, that people misunderstood that term Ritvik is a term for a system of initiation. And it was used by Prabhupada very actively when we were working to initiate people during his personal presence. You were in the temple as a temple president myself for 10 years. Prabhupada would ask us to cultivate people, preach to them, bring them to Krishna consciousness. So that was our work every day. Set good example. Know how to do kirtan. Know how to cook in the kitchen. Know how to clean. Study the books. Do talk. A lot of these so-called gurus can't cook. They can't chant. They have very little skills. They can walk around. Some of them are broken so badly they have to be wheeled around in a chair. Yet they blab on with their nonsense philosophy. It's pathetic. I know. So do all of you that are with us. You know, you can see it. It's apparent how bad it is. And then Hridayananda comes up with this term Ritvikism. Oh, these Ritviks. Excuse me. Where does it say in the Bhagavad Gita anything Krishna's saying, become my Ritvik? Worship me and you'll come back to me because you're my Ritvik. Where does it say that? This is complete slander by this person and other people that use this term like Bhakti Vikash and Devamrita and Radhanath and all these people that are fault finders to their God brothers. First and foremost, remember this. This is the Prabhupada Disciples Association. It's not the Ritvik Association. People misunderstand. That's a system. On behalf of Srila Prabhupada, a person can be initiated. Yes, it's possible. They have to find a system, a group of devotees that are using this system in order to bring them into this formal position as a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. It's not Ritvikism. This is a slanderous statement, blasphemous statement by some ambitious, deviant former gurus. Former. That's how he mentioned himself in this, the title in this Kṛṣṇa murder and other stuff, current miniseries on TV. Former guru calls his godbrothers Ritviks. So think about that. And remember, we're Prabhupada disciples. And that is the highest position that you can have in this universe. It's not a small thing. These words that are being thrown around by people, the slander, the fault finding, the rumor mongers. These people are damning themselves to their own destiny by their actions. And they want to keep it up. Go ahead. For us, it's not important. I'm bringing it up to give a clarification to all of us what our position is, what your position is, and our position as devotees is. We're not Ritviks. We're Prabhupada disciples. We're servants of the servants of the servants of the greatest spiritual master in the history of the world, period. Don't minimize this. So we'll go forward now. I think about these things throughout the week because I like to really try to share the best understanding that all of us have of these principles, so there is no confusion. So thank you very much and for tolerating me some days. I've got I don't want to say Irish temperament, but I do. And I can't stand injustice. I can't stand liars. We can't stand hypocrites. We cannot stand Sahajism, which is all pervasive in the ISKCON movement. Okay, so Saturday, March 12th, 1966, back in New York City, for Srila Prabhupada's diary reading. And we'll move quickly forward. Sunrise, 6:19 a.m., sunset, 6:01 p.m., moonrise, 1 a.m. Shasti, I was to go to Monroe, but Yolanda did not go, so I could not go there. She was counting on her for a ride. Food made for Dr. Mishra was partially distributed to Cohen and Yolanda, tuparta, a type of bread. Okay, that's a partas, two partas left for him. Cohen is preparing to go to California. 1/2 tape recorder prepared for him. He bought a pad for sitting. He assured the maintenance of rent of my room. So he's guaranteeing Prabhupada's stay there. No income, no expenditure. On Sunday, March 13th, sunrise 6:17 a.m., sunset 6:03 p.m., moonrise 1:12 a.m., Saptami. The young lady who was to come and see me today did not turn up. In the evening, 2 ladies and Mr. Sushman came. There was some discussions. One of the ladies brought bread for me. No income and no expenditure. And remember, these lectures are on Prabhupada Vani, so you can listen to them. Monday, March 14th, sunrise 6:16 a.m., sunset 6:06 p.m., moonrise 2:17 a.m., Astami. 1 letter received from Chandra Shekhar. It will take some time to renew the passport. I've paid today, renewed the visa up to June 30th, 66, paid $10 as a fee. I have lost today the good fountain pen given to me by Gopal. It is worth $13.15. I'm very sorry for this, but I could not lament for this because it was given by somebody and it was taken by someone else. It was my possession only for a few months, so I purchased one today of the same make but inferior quality. It is working well. Expenditure, Penn Schaefer, $1. Subway to Chamber Station and down, 30 cents, and visa fees, $10, $11.30, and income contribution, $17. Income and expense statement for that day. Tuesday, March 15th, 1966, sunrise 6:14 a.m., sunset 6:06 p.m., 3:13 a.m. Navami, today no letter received and loans requested to pick up the books from Paragons. She agreed to do it tomorrow. Today no letter received, deposited in the bank, $25, no other expenditure. In the evening, another lecture here, everyone, remember. These are all so-called vintage recordings. There was some talks. Mrs. LeBlanc came at the end after Dr. Mishra's meeting. Now she's losing interest since she has learnt that Bhagavad Gita does not support monism. Very interesting. We have that experience too. Some people come and then they go. They don't want to hear what we have to say. No income today. Wednesday, March 16th, sunrise 6:12 a.m., sunset 6:07 p.m., moonrise 4 p.m., Dashami. Joan was kind enough to get my books, 16 sets, from Paragon Book Gallery. The books are brought and kept in stock. No letter received. In the evening, there was a meeting. The attendance was 3 only. Prabhupada had no disciples at that time, and he was living in an room, not an apartment, with no kitchen and no bathroom. No expenditures, and the income was $3 only by contribution. And look at this beautiful picture, everyone, of Prabhupada with the mridanga. You know, being a professional musician since the 60s myself, I was fascinated when we heard Prabhupada play the mridanga. He was an expert musician. And if you listen to his vintage tapes, and you listen to him, how he plays all the different instruments, the harmonium, the cartels, and the mridanga, and the way he sings, you'll be completely impressed with the high level of musicianship he had. And finally, Thursday, March 17th, 1966, Ekadasi, sunrise 6:10 a.m., sunset 6:08 p.m., moonrise 4:38 a.m. Today, rent for the month, $15,366 to $14,466. 1 month paid in advance to S.N. Fletcher's landlord by money drawing from the bank. Received letter from Salvation Army finance secretary. At once went to see him. The result is favorable by the grace of the Lord. The finance secretary has agreed to accept at $4.80 a dollar exchange. He is writing to London office for confirmation. Expenditure bus fare 30 cents, envelopes half a dozen, 32 cents. That's 62 cents. 2 in the evening, 2 ladies and 1 gentleman, Mr. Tony, came to see me. There was some discussions. And 26, it refers to the exchange rate of rupees into dollars. So we're at March 17th, 1966. That must be St. Patrick's Day, Yashodanandana Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll move forward with the the bhajan, Jaya Radha Madhava, the chanting of these great verses by Prabhupada. And then after that, we'll have the discussion and reading from the very scholastic, expert devotee, Yashodanandana Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Haribol.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Amaspa Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sattva Smadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakti ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Bhagnath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Giri Vardhan ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai ki Jai, Jamuna Mai ki Jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki Jai, Swamavita Bhaktivinda ki Jai, all glories to their Samari. All glories to their Samari. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Glories to you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. A little cold here in Twain Heart. First, we will read a few selected verses from the introduction to Bhagavad Gita that were given by Srila Prabhupada in 1966 in New York, when he first started to lecture regularly on the Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distress and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacham patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. As we have been doing every class for the last month or month and a half, we would read one or two verses, this time from the Gita Dhyana. Gita Dhyana is a very sacred hymn glorifying the Bhagavad Gita. It is quoted from a Vaishnava Tantra. First verse goes, Om Partaya Praptiboditam Bhagavata Narayana Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritam Varchinim Bhagavatim Ashtadasha Dhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Partha was illumined by Lord Narayana himself, and which was composed within the Mahabharata by the ancient sage Vyasa, O Divine Mother, the destroyer of rebirth, the shower of the nectar of Advaita, and consisting of 18 discourses. Upon thee, O Gita, O affectionate mother, I meditate. Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhi Fullara Vindayata Patanetra Yena Tvayata Bharata Tela Purnaha Prajvalitu Jnanamaya Pradipaha. Salutations unto thee, O Vyasa, of broad intellect and with eyes like the petals of a full-blown lotus, by whom the lamp of knowledge filled with the oil of the Mahabharata has been lighted. I just want to make a point here even though in the first verse it mentioned the shower of the nectar of Advaita. We do not read the Bhagavad Gita verses and the glorification of the Bhagavad Gita like the impersonalists. Krishna is also known as Advaita, that he is non-dual. There is no difference between his body and his name, between his qualities and his forms. That is one of the meaning of the word Advaita. Today we'll be reading from chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, text number 30 and 31, all synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. It should be noted that we are reading from the original, non-edited, non-adulterated 1972 version of the Bhagavad Gita, as desired by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Text number 30. I will read slowly the first line. Everybody can repeat individually. Praladascha detyanam. Praladascha detyanam. Kala kalayatam maham. Kala kalayatam maham. Mriganam chamrigendroham. Mriganam chamrigendroham. Venateyascha pakshinam. Venateyascha pakshinam. Praladaha. Pralada. Cha also. Asmi I am. Detyanam of the demons. Kalaha time. Kalayatam of subduers. Aham I am. Mriganam of animals. Cha end. Mrigendraha the lion. Aham I am. Venateyaha Garuda. Cha also. Pakshinam of birds. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Pralada. Among subduers, I am time. Among the beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda, the feathered carrier of Vishnu. Purport. Diti and Aditi are two sisters. The sons of Aditi are called Adityas, and the sons of Diti are called Daityas. All the Adityas are devotees of the Lord, and all the Daityas are atheistic. Although Prahlada was born in the family of the Daityas, he was a great devotee from his childhood. Because of his devotional service and godly nature, he is considered to be a representative of Krishna. There are many subduing principles, but time wears down all things in the material universe, and so represents Krishna. Of the many animals, the lion is the most powerful and ferocious. And of the million varieties of birds, Garuda, the bearer of Lord Vishnu, is the greatest. Text number 31. Pavanaha pavatam asmi. Pavanaha pavatam asmi. Rama shashtabritam maham. Ramaha shashtabritam maham. Jashanam makaraschasmi. Jashanam makaraschasmi. Shrotasam asmi janavi. Shrotasam asmi janavi. Pavanaha, the wind. Pavatam, of all that purifies. Asmi, I am. Ramaha, Rama. Shastrabritam, of the carriers of weapons. Aham, I am. Jashanam, of all aquatics, Makaraha, shark. Cha asmi, I am also. Srotasam, of flowing rivers. Asmi, I am. Janavi, the river Ganges. Translation. Of purifiers, I am the wind. Of the wielders of weapons, I am Rama. Of fishes, I am the shark. And of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges. Of all the aquatics, purport. Of all the aquatics, the shark is one of the biggest and is certainly the most dangerous to man. Thus, the shark represents Kṛṣṇa. And of rivers, the greatest in India is the Mother Ganges. Lord Ramachandra of the Ramayana, an incarnation of Kṛṣṇa, is the mightiest of warriors. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaham Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyayam Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshataham Adadhana Strinam Danter Idam Yache Punaha Punaham Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatusmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishtashad Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So there are some very important points to notice in this section of Bhagavad Gita. This entire chapter 10 has many wonderful examples of the greatness of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Very, very important. Of course, we all love to hear beautiful stories about Kṛṣṇa, to hear the qualities of Kṛṣṇa, to hear the activities of Kṛṣṇa, the abode of Kṛṣṇa. But the Bhagavad Gita is a very systematic book. It's a gradual explanation by Lord Kṛṣṇa to Arjuna of the unique and special position of Kṛṣṇa. In other words, it is not easy to understand Kṛṣṇa himself. In one lecture, Srila Prabhupada is making the point that even when Kṛṣṇa was here 5,000 years ago, not everybody understood Kṛṣṇa to be the personality of Godhead. Many persons did not. Most persons did not. Many great warriors, many great fighters, many kshatriyas, great kings, many of them did not understand the unique position of Kṛṣṇa. Some of them were very inimical to Kṛṣṇa, like King Kamsa, like Shishupal, Like so many kings we see in the Kṛṣṇa book, which is the rendition of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, basically describing the activities of Lord Kṛṣṇa when he came to this planet 5,000 years ago. There's a lot of detail. So Prabhupada commented one pound, except for a few people in Vrindavan, the Pandavas, the Gopis, Nanda Maharaj, Yasoda, Vasudev, Devaki, very few people understood Krishna's position. It is not so easy. People become bewildered. Why is that? Krishna explained, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. I'm not revealed to everyone. Only to those who are devoted to him, those who are devotees. Krishna will reveal himself. But then the question will come up, well, why is it so difficult to understand Krishna? Why doesn't Krishna allow himself to be revealed? The Bhagavad Gita explains this. In chapter 4, text number 11, Yayatamam prapatyante tamstateva bhajamyaham. Krishna says directly that I reward them accordingly to their devotion. Let me read the exact text here. Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text number 11. Yayatamam prapadyante tamstateva bhajamyaham. Mama vartmanu vartante manushyaha partasarvashaha. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Prita. Purport. Everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestations. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence, and as the all-pervading Supersoul dwelling within everything, including the particles of atoms, but Krishna is only fully realized by his pure devotees. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. In the transcendental world also, Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as the devotee wants him. One devotee may want Krishna as Supreme Master, another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally according to their different intensities of love for him. In the material world, the same reciprocations of feelings are there, and are equally exchanged by the Lord with the different types of worshippers. The pure devotees, both here and in the transcendental abode, associate with him in person and are able to render personal service to the Lord and thus derive transcendental bliss in his loving service. Now, this is very important. We see in the Brahma Samhita, after Lord Brahma had described the greatness of Krishna with so many verses, at the end there's 5 or 6 important verses, and Lord Brahma at one point describes how the intensity of the devotion is rewarded according to the devotee's love for Krishna. Yadrishi yadri shraddha sada tadrishi. In other words, according to the level of devotion of the devotee and the devotional sentiment, Krishna reciprocates. The same basic fundamental principle that is described here. Now, this is a very important point, because we see in these various verses here in this chapter 10, Krishna is describing so many different opulences. For example, we see in this text number 30, Krishna is describing, among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Everybody knows the story of Prahlad Maharaj, how he was such a great devotee, but he was just a child. but yet he's recognized as a great authority in the science of bhakti by all the great acharyas. His amazing devotion, it is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 7th canto in one purport by Srila Prabhupada, that Prahlad Maharaj, even when he was in the womb of his mother, he was a great Mahabhagavata. Narada Muni described how this Prahlad Maharaj was a very special child. Very special child. Because Narada Muni knew past, present, and future. And Prabhupada in one purport described that great acharyas like Prahlad Maharaj and Haridas Thakurs and others cannot be brought down to the material platform. In other words, Nitya Siddha devotees, eternally liberated souls who come to this world to deliver the message of Kṛṣṇa, to present the message from the spiritual world, are never affected by the influence of the material nature. And one should be extremely careful when analyzing the statements of great personalities, the great acharyas. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur started his preaching mission on the order of his father and guru, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there were some criticism that were leveled against him. For one thing, he took sannyas by himself. He was at Mayapur, practicing very severe austerities, chanting, and one day he came out, he was a sannyasi. So a lot of the Babaji crowd, the Kas Goswami crowd, they started to criticize him, saying that your own guru was not a sannyasi. Who gave you authority for sannyas? But for those who know the history of the Vaishnava Sampradaya and the behavior of the great acharyas such as Ramanujacharya did the same thing. When he was in Kanchipuram in northern Tamil Nadu in those days, there had been some criticism. So one day Ramanuja went into the temple dressed as a householder with a white dhoti, and he came out, he was a sannyasi. So it is perfectly authorized for great powerful acharyas to take the order of sannyas. For what purpose? Why do they do this? To preach the message of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Of course, it should be understood that anyone who dedicates his life to spread the message of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, whether he's a householder or renounce order, it is all sannyas. It is not that sannyas was meant to be a political position based on false pride. That is not the idea that Prabhupada introduced the sannyas order. After Prabhupada departed, it became a political position. But it's interesting to note, for those who know, that in January 7th, 1977 in Bombay, India, now called Mumbai, Prabhupada in one lecture, from now on, no more sannyas. But some people are not happy with that. They concocted, although Prabhupada said no more sannyas, they kept doing it for political reason, to increase their empire on the basis of false prestige. Another example of whimsical ways, whimsical behavior, political behavior. This is not the standard. So one has to be very careful when analyzing the behavior of these great powerful acharya. Prabhupada makes another point here about the birds. Among birds, I am Garuda. The Garuda is very, very powerful. He is the carrier of Lord Vishnu. In Sri Rangam, the chief temple of the Sri Vaishnavas, the followers of Ramanujacharya and Yamunacharya, there's a big, gigantic Garuda that's like 20, 25, 30 feet tall, very, very big, very impressive. When people go there, it's like, wow, that is very special. Because Garuda gives protection to the Vaishnavas. Very, very special. There's another point that's being made here about time. One devotee recently, because regularly I send pictures of the Radha Gopinath deity in Jaipur, the original deity of an associate of Lord Chaitanya named Madhu Pandit. It's a very special deity for the Gaudiya Vaishnava. And the priests in the temple have put a watch on the wrist of Radha Gopinath. Some devotees ask me, why is there a watch there? Yes, there's a watch. Kṛṣṇa is keeping time. Kṛṣṇa is keeping time for the devotees and the non-devotees. Those who are pretending to be devotees, but acting like non-devotees, Kṛṣṇa is also keeping time for them too. And for those who are devoted to Kṛṣṇa without personal motivation, for them the influence of time diminishes. Kṛṣṇa protects them. Ananyas chintayanto mam, ye janaha paryupashate, tesham nitya viyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. I protect what they have and carry what they lack. Kṛṣṇa always is the protector, always protects the devotees. So that watch on Kṛṣṇa's wrist, Kṛṣṇa says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kalaha aham, of the subduer, because we see that by the influence of time, ultimately everything in the material world is destroyed. Now in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha and Goloka Vrindavana, the influence of time does not take place. People do not grow old, do not suffer, no more disease, no more lamentation. You don't have hospitals in Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. You don't need doctors and clinics and procedures. No. Why? Because it is the spiritual world where these miseries of the material world do not exist. The material world means janma mritu jara vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease. It doesn't matter how strong we are, how rich we may be, how beautiful we may be, how handsome one may be, how intelligent one may be. Everyone in the material world, from Lord Brahma down to the smallest insect, is subject to the sufferings of these four elements: birth, death, old age, and disease. And one can only be relieved of these miseries by the mercy of a pure devotee of Kṛṣṇa. By how to obtain that blessing? One has to hear. One has to submit his ears to submissively hear from a fully realized pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. Then one can make progress on a path of devotion and gradually become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you.
Glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. And we'll move forward with the next section of our program. We'll be asking various godbrothers, Puranjana, Janaspriya, Nilesh, Shamashundar, I believe, and Ram Singh and others to join us. I wanted to mention first Yashodanandana Prabhu politely. I was listening to a lecture by Srila Prabhupada recently, this week actually, and he was explaining to us that Kṛṣṇa is inconceivable for the conditioned soul to understand completely. In fact, his position, God's position, and his opulences to understand them can be very bewildering. Just like we hear about people that have billions of dollars, we think, oh, that's so much money, especially when you don't have much. But at the same time, compared to Kṛṣṇa's position as the source of all wealth, Bhagavan, it is minuscule, hardly any. As you know, I cook almost every day here for my deities and for the devotees, people at this ashram in Hamilton. And I'm using mustard seeds. Now, Prabhupada talks about mustard seeds, Yashodanandana Prabhu. He says that mustard seeds, even though they're so tiny, he uses the example, there are as many universes in God's creation like mustard seeds in a bag. When you look at mustard seeds, they're so small and insignificant. So every time I see these mustard seeds, I think, how can we understand God's creation? How many universes, how many planets, how many living entities there are in God's creation? And how can we understand that? It's inconceivable. Yet we think, oh, I'm so smart. By definition, Kṛṣṇa means and includes everything there is. Everything. What does that mean? Everything. Very difficult. How we understand that it is inconceivable, but it is possible by association with a person who is a devotee of Kṛṣṇa. It's not possible otherwise. Only by the association of a pure devotee. We're reading these pastimes of Srila Prabhupada in the early days for everyone at the beginning of the classes here. And you get a perspective on the behavior of a pure devotee by reading his diary. How he did something so inconceivable in such a short period of time because of his complete commitment to his spiritual master. And in this way, he was able to transmit the science of Kṛṣṇa consciousness to everyone through all his work. And by the way, the words of the pure devotee, everything that he speaks is Shastra. It is not just speculation. Every time you hear a Prabhupada lecture, every time you read a Prabhupada letter, every time you read his books, you get an insight into spiritual life that nobody outside of this realm can get without his mercy. That is Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada explains, this is the meaning of avatar. He represents Kṛṣṇa, Shaktivesh avatar. He's not an ordinary person. And for those people that speculate on anything else other than that, that is their mistake. Can you hear me all right? Yashoda? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got a message from our production manager. My mic might apologize. The more we serve Srila Prabhupada and please him, the more we will understand Kṛṣṇa by his mercy. You can only know Kṛṣṇa through his representative. That's the system. Kṛṣṇa tells us, he who is my devotee is not my devotee. That's in the Nectar of Devotion. But one who says, one who is the devotee of my devotee, Kṛṣṇa tells us, he is my devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. That's the system. Because we have new people at this group, I'm going to relate the day of my initiation in July 1971 to all of you. We have so many people joining us, and thank you everyone for coming today to the program. When I got initiated in Detroit, it was on Jefferson Avenue, and they called out my name. Prabhupada did, Vishvakarma Das. I'd never heard the name before. and I had no idea who that personality was. It took me a couple of days to even repeat the name properly. But at any rate, Prabhupada looked at me. There was a little bit of a roar when the name was spoken. Oh, Vishwakarma Das. I think Prabhupada reacted to that. He looked at me, he goes, but you should never think that you are the chief engineer. I didn't even know who that was. But anyway, he looked at me very seriously and said that you should never think that you are the chief engineer, but you should always remember that you are the servant of the servant of the servant of the chief engineer. In this way, you will become great. So this is a principle that he spoke many times to many devotees during his preaching period with us. Always remain humble, always remain the servant of the servant, work with the devotees cooperatively, spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya, try to please our Guru with your actions, with your money, with your words, with your energy. And in this way, you will get the understanding of the inconceivable position of Kṛṣṇa by the mercy of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we're going to move forward. Yashoda, any further comments from you, or should we move to the discussion?
I just want to say today is the disappearance day of Narottam Das Thakur, a very special day according to the Mayapur calendar. It's also a day called Sri Kṛṣṇa Madhura Utsava, where many devotees in Bengal, they observe it. It's a form of Rasa Lila in the spring, where Krishna dances with the gopis and he's being worshipped with flowers. Very special event. So just want to bring that to everybody's attention. And I wanted to read one or two things briefly before we give the floor to other devotees.
Yes.
So, certain comments that Prabhupada made about the Ganges, because the Ganges, as we all know, is a very sacred river, very special and sacred river. And Prabhupada makes a very interesting point. This is from a morning walk in Bombay, India, on November 4th, 1975, a morning walk in India on November 4th, 1975. Prabhupada says, Svadihi kalatradishu bhama idyadi. Idya means worshipable. The brain is full with this idea, dihi. Dihi means buddhi. The brain is conjectured with all these ideas. Then he wants to become a religious man. What is that? Now, Balma idyadi, yatirtha buddhihi salile. He goes to some holy place and takes bath. They go to Haridwar, the same Ganges in Calcutta and the same Ganges in Haridwar. But he will go to Haridwar to take bath so that he may think that I have come to some holy place. The holy place is Ganges, but Calcutta is not holy place, and Haridwar is holy. So Balma idyadi, yatirtha buddhihi salili. Actually, Haridwar or Vrindavana, such places are meant to see great saintly persons, to take some knowledge from them, That is the purport of going to the holy place. But without consulting them, without seeing them, he simply dips into the water and he takes, my pilgrimage is finished. Yatirtha buddhihi salili nakarichit, janishu abhignayeshu. There are many saintly persons, very experienced. They will not go there. Seva gokaraha. These are asses. This conception of life is gokaraha, animal. Go means the cow and asses. This is the explanation of the verse. All religionists think they go to Mecca, they go to Jerusalem to the water. They're not eager searching out that where there is some saintly person in this holy place. No, they have no search out. They do not want to consult. Yatirtha buddhihi salile nakarichit janeshu abhignyshu saiva gokaraha. from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:84-13. Hare Krishna.
We have, thank you. We have a variety of devotees from around the globe with us today on the Zoom meeting. And I've mentioned we're going to call on them, but I see we already have one of our guests I was going to request to speak, Nilesh Shamasundar, I believe it is, in Miami. And since he has his hand up, why don't we
Neil
just
Shah.
move forward with you, Prabhu? All glories to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. All glories, Prabhuji. Wonderful. It was a very nice explanation even before the class which you gave Vishwakarma Prabhu about Ritviks. You know, the people who are the so-called fake gurus, they are intoxicated with three things: Labha, Puja, and Pratishtha. We have heard it in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, Text 12, where Prabhupada explains in the purport very clearly is that these are the offshoots of material or sex indulgence. These are the byproducts. So imagine is that even when they call us Ritviks, even though it may be condescending, I take it as a true characteristic. Because to me, you and Yashodananda Prabhu are Ritviks, are representatives of Srila Prabhupada. What is wrong with the understanding that, yes, you call me Ritvik, yes, I am. But whose representative I am? I am putting forth Srila Prabhupada in his position where he's supposed to be the only Diksha Guru, because he is the pure devotee of the Lord. And I'm going to propagate that. And if you call me a representative of Srila Prabhupada, thank you very much.
Yes.
In fact, you're glorifying me. You're not condescending me, you're glorifying me. So please take it as a glorification. Don't take it as a condescending attitude. They don't understand what they are speaking because they are intoxicated with labha, puja, and pratishtha, profit, adoration, and distinction. This is the three things which they are intoxicated with. So they will not understand. They have whatever little reverence they have is because of their association with Srila Prabhupada, nothing else. You remove Srila Prabhupada from the equation, what are they made up of? So they will refer to Srila Prabhupada constantly in their talks, in whatever they want to do, because they want to show that their connection with Srila Prabhupada is what brings them labha, puja, and pratishtha. While personalities like yourself and Yashodananda Prabhu have nothing to do with these material gains. Nothing to do with these material gains. There are a lot of other devotees like that who call themselves Ritviks or who are labeled Ritviks who do not want to deal with that. Prabhupada in his diaries, when you read, you say that how he kind of nickel and dimes every little cent, whatever the intake is, whatever the outtake is. Did his attitude change when ISKCON grew? When thousands and thousands of dollars were collected, when 108 temples were dedicated, how did he change his attitude? Did he change? No. This is the proof that materially there was no distinction from him during the days when he was staying in one room without a bathroom, without a kitchen, and when he stayed in the opulent quarters of Bombay. When one of the devotees asked him, "So Prabhupada, how do you find your quarters?" What did he say? He said, "I still miss my Radha Damodar Mandir's quarters." I do not, for him, there is no distinction. Why? Because he's totally immersed in Krishna consciousness, and he wants us to be there. So as Ritviks, please be proud. Use that label with pride that yes, you are truly the representative of Srila Prabhupada, because everybody has changed their books, changed his philosophy, and are giving distorted versions out there. Hare Krishna. Your thoughts, please.
Yashoda, before we call on others, maybe you can make a few comments. Thank you, Shamashundar.
Well, time is getting short. Let's pass on to some other devotees. I greatly appreciate your realization, Dr. Nilesh. The fact of the matter is, to make things very brief here, Prabhupada was a very special devotee, and people should never think that he's finished and gone or dead and gone. That is incorrect thinking. He's always available to the sincere speaker. Always. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
there is a dynamic quality in his sound vibration, a transcendental dynamic quality that will invigorate anyone who hears it. For example, when you play Prabhupada for other people, they become blessed. So this is the transcendental nature of Krishna consciousness, this inconceivable science. Paranjana Prabhu, can you maybe make a few comments on today's discussion?
Hi, Bill. Can you hear me?
We can see your picture as well. Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I was told by a GBC guru once that I am the junkyard dog of ISKCON. And I said, well, thank you, Prabhu. At least I have a position in the parade somewhere. So they call us different names. They just don't like it that we are representing Prabhupada. We are the representatives of Prabhupada. We're telling you this is what Prabhupada said, and that is what Prabhupada said, and you are not representing what he said. So yeah, we should take that as a badge of honor when they say we're the representatives of Prabhupada. Thank you very much. But I wanted to read just briefly something that's inspiring me a lot
Yes.
recently, and it is Prahlad Maharaj. This is Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 14.
Mhm.
Prahlad speaking. O Brahmanas, teachers, as iron attracted by a magnetic stone moves automatically toward the magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus, I have no independence. So that should be our position. We have no independence. We're not independent of Prabhupada or Krishna at any time. Purport: for iron to be attracted by a magnet is natural. Similarly, for all living entities to be attracted towards Krishna is natural, and therefore the Lord's real name is Krishna, meaning he who attracts everyone and everything. The typical examples of such attraction are found in Vrindavan, where everything and everyone is attracted by Krishna. The elderly persons, like Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda Devi, the friends, like Sridama, Sudama, and the other cowherd boys, the gopis, like Srimati Radharani and her associates, and even the birds, beasts, cows, and calves are attracted. The flowers and fruits in the gardens are attracted. The waves of the Yamuna are attracted. And the land, sky, trees, plants, animals, and all other living beings are attracted by Krishna. That is a natural situation of everything in Vrindavan. Just contrary to the affairs of Vrindavan is the material world, where no one is attracted by Krishna and everyone is attracted by Maya. This is the difference between the spiritual and material worlds. Hiranyakasipu, who was in the material world, was attracted by money, by women and money, whereas Prahlad Maharaj, being in his natural position, was attracted by Krishna. In replying to Hiranyakasipu's question about why Prahlad Maharaj had a deviant view, Prahlad said his view was not deviant, for the natural position of everyone is to be attracted by Krishna. Hiranyakasipu found this view deviant. Prahlad said, because of being unnaturally unattracted by Krishna, Hiranyakasipu therefore needed purification. So it's the same with Prabhupada, really. They're envious of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada says all envy is rooted in envy of Krishna. It starts with Krishna, and then it ends up we become envious of other living entities. And I believe that all of this whole problem is rooted in envy of Prabhupada. They didn't appreciate who he was. They were always jockeying around. I remember when we had these walks in India, all the sannyasis would just swarm around Prabhupada. No one else could get near Prabhupada. And they were hogging the limelight. They wanted to be in the limelight. They didn't want to let us little peons get near Prabhupada. So they were trying to, place themselves in a special position, and that just continued on. But we're not special. We're just humble little beings that, our job is to try to get other people to be near Prabhupada. We shouldn't be just hogging the position like that. But I saw that mentality, and it's true. They wanted to, glamorize their position and hog the position of being associated with Prabhupada, and that is opposite of what we should be doing. Haribol.
Yes, it's true. And think about it like this, Paranjana. Prabhupada created this movement, like it was a lifetime in preparation, but in 11 short years, he did amazing work, absolutely amazing. And he attracted all kinds of people like ourselves to serve him. So his system was to have temple presidents and different representatives preach and cultivate people and then recommend them to him for initiation. And he made all these disciples. So it was his vision of how to spread Krishna consciousness that was put into motion by his determination, his commitment to his spiritual master. Were some of the people qualified who came from a variety of life, like the early days in 66, some of these people that showed up at his doorstep, like Keith Ham, etc., were they that qualified? And in a few short years, they showed their true colors and the whole confusion that existed in their own petty little false ego minds. It's all simple to see. 11 years is hardly any time. Just think, 11 years. How much time is that in your life? Hardly any. And look what Prabhupada achieved. So all these problems that come about by these neophyte people that he drew into his association have manifested themselves in obvious manners for all of us to see. But somehow or other, Sham Sundar, people cannot connect the dots. They can't see it. Jonas Priya, our good God brother, has been a devotee for 40, 45 years as well, maybe
Hare
longer.
Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, I
Haribol.
got initiated in 1972.
Okay. So 72
And,
to 20, that's 50 years, 52 years.
53 years almost, yeah. Hare Krishna. I still haven't learned much. I'm still being a Mayavadi and a Sahajya, but I
Oh,
pray
stop
that,
it.
that I will develop my hearing, because it all starts with hearing. How do we learn about Krishna? How do we learn about Prabhupada? By hearing. So that Prabhupada said that was his greatest qualification. He said, my Guru Maharaj noticed that I could hear. And Prabhupada says, although I could mostly not understand what he was talking about in the beginning, he said, but I kept on hearing. So this is Prabhupada's giving the example that we might not understand, but we try to hear to the best of our ability. And then what the Prabhupada says, once you hear, you need to try to understand. So what we hear, then we try to understand. And slowly we will make progress. And as Nanda mentioned before, Krishna says that as you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. So it's totally depending on us, how how eager we are to please Guru, how eager are we trying to get out of this material entanglement. And when we share whatever little knowledge we have, like Prabhupada gave the example of the little girl Sarasvati, she was 2 or 3 years old, and she'll walk up to somebody, that's Shama Sundar's daughter, somebody says, "You know who Kṛṣṇa is?" And they say, "No." And she'll say, "Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead." And Prabhupada said, "This is perfect preaching. If we just tell somebody Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's perfect preaching." But to be able to do that, we have to be convinced. And how do we become convinced? Simply by reading and hearing and chanting the holy name and following the principle. This is a very scientific process. It's not an experimental process like some more other bogies came before Prabhupada with their experimental. This is a millions of year old process, and reintroduced by Lord Chaitanya and carried by the Parampara, and we try to follow as closely as we can without trying to improve the. How can you improve imperfection? That's not possible. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. We have Ram Singh in Sacramento, California, with us on the call. Very committed to the mission of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. Ram, maybe you could share a bit of insights from your perspective.
Jai, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So I'd like to read this lecture from Srila Prabhupada's class. This is lecture Los Angeles, July 20th, 1971. Srila Prabhupada, any questions? Nanda Kishore, what happens to a person if we just give him what happens to a person if we just give him out on the street, simply wonderful, or some prasadam, one piece of prasadam? Srila Prabhupada, that is wonderful, simply wonderful laughter. He has not tasted such wonderful sweet in his life. Therefore, you give him simply wonderful. And because he's eating that wonderful sweet, one day he'll come to your temple and become simply wonderful. Devotees Jai. Therefore, it is simply wonderful. So go on distributing this simply wonderful. Your philosophy is simply wonderful. Your prasadam is simply wonderful. And you are simply wonderful. And your Kṛṣṇa is simply wonderful. The whole process of simply wonderful. And he acts wonderfully. And it is acting wonderfully. Who can deny it? Devotees. Prabhupada is simply wonderful. That's all right. You can become everyone. All right. Hare Krishna. Oh, all right. Have kirtan. So we see Srila Prabhupada is giving this wonderful message of Krishna consciousness very freely to everyone who takes it up. So, the philosophy is simply wonderful. The whole process is simply wonderful. So everyone should take it up to their capacity and help others become Krishna conscious at the local level, distribute books, distribute prasadam, talk about Krishna, try to get people interested, and then invite them to their homes, tell them about your lifestyle. I know Vishwakarma is doing that for many years. Yashodanandana Prabhu and all the devotees here. So I'm very happy to be a participant here. Association movement. So thank you very much for having these classes. I would recommend everyone who's watching to take this wonderful opportunity to associate with devotees here and then perfect their lives. Thank you very much.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Venkat Bhatta, if you could put up the invitation that we have on the screen. I wanted everyone to look at it because we're moving to the end of the program. It's 11:27. This particular handout, you can get this from Venkat Bhatta, the artwork, and print it in your local area and distribute it wherever you go, to the gas stations or the grocery store, or when you go out to meet a friend or someone you're preaching to. Give them some of these invitations and disseminate them into the local area where you live. This is called the Namhata program that we're introducing. And there you have all of the connective points online, because social media is a wonderful medium to connect with people. especially when you're in a difficult situation where you can't get out because of the weather or other circumstances. But you can reach many, many people through this medium. So we're not rejecting anything that we're doing that, like on social media or on the internet, as useless, because it is being dovetailed in Kṛṣṇa service. And this is the idea. Everything that you have, everything that you do, you dovetail it in Kṛṣṇa service, and this will liberate you. Simply wonderful process will liberate you from the conditioned state of material life. So thank you, everyone. Tomorrow we'll have Srimad Bhagavatam class at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Canada and the United States. We want to thank everyone that came out today. I think we had over, between the Zoom call and people that are watching on YouTube, over 50 participants. Even in the temples, when we were running them years ago, 50 people was a large turnout. So thank you very much. Hopefully we'll build it in due course of time by the grace of Prabhupada and Kṛṣṇa. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Let's chant along with our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and enjoy the rest of our Sankirtan day. Haribol.
Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha
Cha
kripa
Kripa
sindubhya
Sindhu
eva
Evacha
cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thanks everybody for participating, and you are welcome tomorrow morning for Srimad Bhagavatam class. We will be here right at 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time in Canada, and we welcome everybody to participate.